Welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. We are meeting the people that you don't see every day in front of the screen, but they certainly lead our newsroom. To start, we're introducing you to our executive producer, who may be the most smiliest person I've ever met. Anna Peters joining us. I'm serious, Anna. I think you may be the happiest person I've ever met, which kind of scares me because if I see you frown, then I know something's wrong.
Oh, wow. And I write some of the worst stories in the newsroom.
That's kind of true. You're always looking at the documents, so it may be something crazy. You know, that kind of leads into my first question for you. For people who are watching and may not know, how long have you worked at KELOLAND, and how would you describe the role of an executive producer?
Well, I've been at Kello for almost 25 years, which is crazy. I figured I'd come here. I had done some radio beforehand, and I was at another TV station, and I was like, I'll be at Kello for a couple years, and then I'll figure out what I want to do with my life. And here I am, 25 years later, still here.
Wow.
I've done just about everything in the newsroom but sports. I started, well, in my first job across town, I actually did some weather, which I'm not a weather expert, so that was something. Did some radio, came to Kello as the weekend anchor, and also reported during the week. And after a few years of that, I was also a producer at the time. My news director said, hey, we've got enough money in the budget. We're going to hire you a producer. And I was like, wait, that's the best part of my job. And then I moved over to producing, which is putting together a daily newscast, sometimes two daily newscasts, depending on the day. And after a few years of that, there was an opening, and now I'm the executive producer. So I kind of oversee all the newscasts. We have a team of reporters or producers. We have a team of reporters too, but our producers, we have one who comes in like 11 o'clock at night, and she works overnight and puts together the first hour and a half of our morning show. We have another one who comes in a little later, and she's around through midday. And she does an hour of the morning show, and then she also does midday. Then we have our evening producers, who most of them start in the morning. Some come in the afternoon because we have our 10 o'clock news too. So I'm in charge of hiring them, make sure they know how to do their jobs, and I work with them to make their shows as good as we can possibly make them. If I spend a lot of my time looking for more news to include in their newscasts, more local news, because that's what we do here.
Yeah, and going into that a little bit, what do you think needs to exist to have a strong daily newscast?
Well, here in South Dakota, in KELOLAND, or not South Dakota, because we do have viewers all over. But
how about the KELOLAND area?
It's local, everything local, whether it's local businesses opening, some local crime you should know about, something happening at a local school, local sporting event. Our goal is to give you everything you need to know about KELOLAND.
So then how do you decide which stories go first or last in a newscast, especially because we're talking about that local impact?
Well, a lot of the time it's based on relevance. So if there's a story that affects everyone because it has to do with education or some sort of health story, that's going to be the lead because it's relevant. But also if there's something that's happening right now, that might be our lead story for the night. It depends on the story, depends what we know. And, you know, if we've got amazing video of something too and some amazing interviews, that might take a story instead of being at the end of the first block to the top of the first block, just because when you've got real people in a story, it's a lot of times it's your best story.
Yeah, content is key. My next question for you, what do you think is better? A slow news day or something chaotic where like multiple stories, breaking news is coming in at once? What's better for a producer, do you think?
Well, that's another important part of my job, because if we've got someone going up and they're doing a lot of the time it seems like we have the breaking news at 4 o'clock. So
that's true.
My first thing is to let that producer know, hey, we've got something going on. Or I might shout across and say, hey, let them know I'm going to write something. I try to gather information in the newsroom. We might send out a reporter, but we're trying to get that on air and make sure what we put on air is as accurate as possible. And I love being busy. I don't want to sit still and not do anything. So I love a crazy news day. And it doesn't have to be, you know, crime. It could be a weather-related thing. It could be anything that's happening right now that we need to let people know about. It could be political.
Yeah. I feel like that feeds off of every person in the newsroom. They all are like itching for it. Like that chaoticness or that breaking to just come in. I want to go out there. I want to do this. I want to do that. So what do you think fuels your fire here at work? Like what keeps motivating you every day? Because like, as you said earlier, you know, some of the stories that you may be writing up are not the ones that you smile at. They may be something that's related to a court document or a very specific case. So how do you approach these stories and how do you keep this motivation flowing so that you don't get burnt out or so that you find that passion and convey it to the viewer?
You know, all it takes is a really good story. You know, someone can go out, do their story, come back, put it together, and you watch it, and it's like, that's why we do this. That is why we are journalists. We want to share those stories, and we want to do it the right way. We want to inspire people. We want to educate people. Or there are also times where I'll find a topic that's really important to me, and I'll jump in on that, all in. We did something a few years back about cold cases in South Dakota, and we put together a whole special on cold cases. If I'm not feeling inspired at work, sometimes I just need a big project, and then I get inspired again. So, but it's finding that project and finding something interesting, and then it's amazing how you can find the time to work that into your schedule and still get the rest of the job done.
Yeah, do all your check boxes for the day, but then find those little passion projects like you're talking about. So you must really like digging into documents and research then, right?
Yeah,
it's one of your skills.
I do. But there are important issues in our community too, and
well, I just said at the beginning of this segment, too, that you're one of the most smiliest persons that I've met here in the newsroom. So how do you keep a positive attitude when you're dealing with something that is as chaotic as news every day?
You know, you just got to focus on the positives because, you know, my job is my job. My life is my family. So if I need to look at my phone and look at a picture of my family, send a text to my son, send a note to my daughter, or pull up a picture of my dog, you know, sometimes that's what really matters. Work's important. Our job is super important. But, you know, when you have a hard day, it's nice to focus on the things that make you happy.
Well, it's making me smile. Anna, is there anything else that you'd like to share for our viewers, either about working here at KELOLAND or anything about yourself?
Well, I just hope our viewers appreciate all that our reporters and our producers and our anchors and our photographers do, because it's such an important job, and they're important stories we're sharing. You know, some of them may not seem like the most important thing, but they are.
They are.
I'm just so thankful that we've got a spot to share those stories.
Anna, thank you so much for joining me here at the Digital Desk. And stick around, viewers, because up next, we are still meeting the people who lead the newsroom, and we're taking things on the digital side. Stay with us. Our digital manager is coming up next after the break. Welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. We are meeting the people that lead the newsroom behind the scenes. If you notice some sweat on my forehead right now, excuse me while I wipe it off, because my manager is joining now. So I had to make sure I prepped the best questions for you, Eric, just so I don't get in trouble or anything. Make you
true
happy,
hot seat on both sides this time.
Exactly. Eric, well, welcome to the Digital Desk, being my interviewee for the first time. I want to start off by giving our viewers some context into your story here at KELOLAND. So briefly, could you explain how long you've worked here and explain what is a digital manager?
Yeah, it's great to be on here. You know, long time listener, first time caller. It feels like got to say that for this instance, just because of the behind the scenes inside joke there. But you know, digital content manager is still an evolving role, as you can see with this equipment here. That has kind of fallen under a little bit of my umbrella as the digital content manager. But I would say my story, I started with KELOLAND Media Group 7 years ago already now, back in 2018. So I came here, started as a web producer, which was just helping fill the website with content. And then I've worked myself up to digital reporter, where there I was specifically placing content reporting for our website first. And then I've been in this role as digital content manager for about a year and a half now, or just over a year. And I say that the coolest thing about the digital content is, you know, there could be a new social media app that launches tomorrow, and we'd have to figure out how to make it work. Whereas, you know, the bread and butter of TV news has been around in some form of the same fashion since the 1950s. But like this desk here that we're sitting on, it's all kind of digital focused and digital platforms that we're trying to reach.
That leads to a question I wanted to hit with you, Eric. We keep seeing this across the news industry, especially here at KELOLAND now, because this is the digital desk. But there is an evolving presence of digital and streaming. So how do you see KELOLAND evolving with the demands that are coming with this digital world and streaming?
Well, I think it's a unique time to be in this in this world where the media landscape is definitely changing every day, and no different than when Kello TV launched in the 50s. I mean, TV was a new frontier, and the leaders here at KELOLAND were pioneers in building the infrastructure, the over-the-air towers to reach these rural areas. And one thing that digital can do is reach all corners, not just the physical region, but worldwide with internet presence. And I know people can watch KELOLAND Plus across the globe, which is a global audience when you think about it. Our little corner of the world is now can be accessed with just a Roku stick for $20 and some Wi-Fi. So, seeing how media evolves into this, new infrastructure, if you would say, it's an interesting time to be in this role and kind of find the best way to tell our stories, to meet, what people have expected over a strong legacy at KELOLAND Media Group.
A strong legacy that is evolving with the demands as we're talking about. And, you're kind of hitting why KELOLAND needs a digital team, but I'd like to hear what you think also makes it so different between digital and broadcast.
Yeah, great question. I think it's one that I get asked a lot, one that I've seen evolve at this station, one that every newsroom and every media kind of company deals with is, how do you incorporate what is the website? And, I come from a newspaper background. So when I went to college, I studied journalism, even knowing that, the newspaper industry was kind of facing changes like every media industry is now. And when I worked at the Mitchell Daily Republic, shout out to the Mitchell area as a sports reporter, and saw how that industry changed in my time there, where we used to print the newspaper in Mitchell and they took that away. We used to design the paper in Mitchell and they took that away, and kind of the downsizing impacts of that. So then when I came to KELOLAND Media Group, where there's a newsroom of 40 to 50 people dedicated, and it was just a totally different, happy life, a healthy newsroom. Something I'm sure you've probably noticed too. It's still good to see when a newsroom, a team like ours can really get rolling on some big coverage and life-changing moments and some of those things. It's finding our way to work with the broadcast, not against it, and vice versa. And that's something everyone's trying to figure out, and we're still figuring out with this fancy digital desk we got here.
Yeah, we like to experiment here.
Yes.
I have one final question for you, and this is something that I think could maybe help our viewers who are navigating our website. But what do you think makes KELOLAND.com so strong, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's another great question. Something I think a lot of us take pride in and can almost take for granted is how many people go to KELOLAND.com every day. You can get free content, free weather Doppler radar, free knowing what's happening in South Dakota, Southwest Minnesota, Northwest Iowa. What I like to tell people is, I grew up with dial-up internet, and when the internet first hit, just like when TV came to South Dakota, KELOLAND had the vision to get online right away. And KELOLAND.com is still people's computers at home. They'll pull up. You think of internet in South Dakota, bookmarked ahead of Google is KELOLAND.com. If you open Internet Explorer or any of your browsers, KELOLAND.com was just one of the first local websites. So it still has that big draw. We're free. Yes, there's ads on the website, but we have reporters reporting strictly for that website. And I think that's something we really have to offer. You got tons of weather resources on that website and tons of sports coverage and all sorts of a mix. And one thing that we're really incorporating is more video. You'll see a video player that's supposed to be kind of more phone friendly. That's something that you deal with. People used to read KELOLAND.com on a desktop computer. Now it's more on your cell phone. So in your hand. So we have KELOLAND on the go. We have Midday Minute, all these different ways we can reach viewers and just find a way to tell good stories in the best format can. And it's definitely an asset that we don't take for granted.
Yeah, and we do it daily here at the digital team.
Yes.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for joining me here at this desk. It's been a pleasure, and I think the sweat is gone now that this is over.
It's fun to be here. So
we'll get you next time, I promise.
Yeah.
Less sweat then. Well, thank you, Eric. And still to come on Inside the Newsroom, we're not quite done figuring out who is leading the newsroom. We have the leader of all leaders coming on next after the break. Welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. We are on a mission to meet the leaders of the newsroom. And as I said before, I'm going to show you the leader of all leaders of this newsroom, and that is Miss Beth Jensen, who is our news director here at KELOLAND. Beth, welcome to the digital desk for the first time.
I know. I love it. Thank you, Maddie Paul. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So let's just give our viewers a little bit of context. How long have you been working at KELOLAND, and how would you describe the role of a news director?
That's a great question. I came to Kello in 1996, so I have been here almost 29 years. Wow. And of course, during that time, I've seen a lot of change. I came as a producer, then I worked as a reporter, then a producer again, then executive producer, and I've been news director since 2008, so a long time.
Wow.
And news director is the person who's responsible for the entire newsroom. We have more than 50 full-time employees here at KELOLAND Media Group, on air and online. So that includes anchors, reporters, producers, photographers, digital, sports, meteorologists. We have a lot of different roles here. So I get to work with everybody.
What a list. That's an impressive list too, might I add. With your experience here at not only just Kello, but all of the range of roles that you've had, what's something that you've seen just grow or evolve in the news industry in general?
Well, I think the best part about this and at Kello is the innovation. You know, when I came, we were just getting into computers. So even not too long before that, people were typing scripts on typewriters. But we had to print the scripts out, and they had carbon paper between each layer. And like the pink would go to one anchor, the blue would go to the other anchor, the yellow would go to the director, the green would go to audio. And you had to like pass out the scripts and stack the tapes, like physical beta tapes. So that carried on for quite a while. But then, of course, we launched our website, which was very fortunate because we were one of the first news websites in our area. So that really helped us gain an audience before other websites were around. So that was very innovative. Buying 3 Doppler radars was very innovative. When I became news director, social media was not a thing. Facebook was actually banned in the building. And so we had a lot of conversations about how that was a way to reach our audience. However, we never forget that our website and our broadcast are the main sources to reach our people because we can't control the algorithms of other properties. But actually, and then I have to say, this digital desk is my new favorite thing. I was so proud when Kello was chosen as one of our company. Nexstar is the largest broadcast company in the country, and they chose a group of stations, many of them in larger markets, to launch what their versions of KELOLAND Plus. And when I heard about this and I understood the potential, I got super excited. So I'm very happy to be here. It's been a long time in the works, and now just watching it all unfold is fantastic.
You're talking about paper and tapes, and I'm like, what? What? Color coding, like highlighting? I don't know. Different world.
It was a different time. And you know what? You had to get the newscast ready at like 9 because you still had to print out the scripts, rip them, distribute them, stack the tapes. Like, you know, it wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to edit this story right before we go on the air. Or if you did, it would not be updated in the scripts. And we were able to do that, but not very often.
Well, it's not done evolving, Beth, because now we're entering a world with, thank goodness we have the digital desk now, but digital is becoming a demand. Streaming is becoming a demand now. So how do you see KELOLAND evolve with the demands that our viewers are presenting?
I think the best thing about Kello is we've always gone to viewers wherever they are. I used to call it platform agnostic. Like you can watch us on the TV, you can look at us on the phone, you can go to your desktop, your laptop, your tablet. We will come to you wherever you like to get your news. And this is just one more way of doing that. These apps are so smart and so innovative, and you don't need a cable subscription anymore. You can just download our app and watch our newscasts for free. And that's really exciting to me.
That's such a great way of putting it because it makes it so tangible to a viewer. We're talking about access right there, but let's talk about the people. Let's talk about our newsroom staff. What's your philosophy in making a newsroom not only united, but also creative or to find impact for the viewers? What's your philosophy for something like that?
Well, I think newsroom culture is probably the most important thing, because if people aren't happy, then they're not going to do good work, and then the content's going to suffer. So a long time ago, we decided that we would look for 3 qualities when we hire people. Someone who is curious, someone who is smart, and someone who is kind, because it takes all 3 of those qualities to make an excellent journalist and a good newsroom citizen. And I'm really proud at where we are with that. Also, I will say one of the best things about the Kello Newsroom is the range of experience. You have many people who've been here since the dawn of time, like me. And then we have new people like you bringing fresh energy and ideas. And we can both learn a lot from each other. So I think that's also one of our strengths.
That's a great point, because not only is our size pretty impressive with 50 people, but you're right with the experience. Would you say that you learn something new every day, Beth?
For sure. In fact, just now, just sitting down here right now. Definitely. It's that's the best part about this job. I used to think when I was a reporter, no 2 days were the same, and I love that. But it turns out as a manager, no 2 days are the same either. And the time flies, which is also a gift. I've had jobs early in high school and college where I'd look at the clock and I'd be like, I have been here 3 hours and I've made $15. Or how long till lunch? Or how long till Friday? Or how long till I get to go home? And the newsroom days fly by because so much is happening. So I think that's really lucky too.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our viewers, either about your experience or just about KELOLAND in general?
Well, I just think we owe it all to our viewers. We were lucky because when we signed on in 1953, we were the first television station in South Dakota. And since then, we've been number 1 in every newscast, in every time period, every day. And we do not take that lightly. That's a huge responsibility, and we work hard to earn their trust every day. So we appreciate the viewers so much, and we appreciate them following us wherever we go.
Great points, Beth. Thank you so much for joining me here at the Digital Desk. And viewers, you've seen it all. You've seen the people who lead the way behind the scenes in the newsroom to get you those trending stories that you see every day on our newscast and online at KELOLAND.com. So I have to extend a thank you not only to you, the viewers, but to the people who came on to the Digital Desk today to talk about their experiences and what makes KELOLAND so special. That's all the time that we have for Inside the Newsroom today. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock for another episode. And until then, have a great day, everyone.